Energy is not a luxury. It is stewardship. And you're responsible because you bring energy wherever you go, or you take energy wherever you go. You either bring it or you consume it. When you walk into a room, when you step into an environment, you're either bringing it or you're consuming it. And you're responsible for that. As a spiritual leader, how do we be people who bring God's energy? Also, as a big part of that is how then do you receive God's energy? Yesterday was an awesome day, and then it became a really tough day. It was awesome for 7 hours or 8 hours of my work time, and it was literally sucky for 1 hour. And that 1 hour just became like the thing that took all the wind out of my sails. And so I got home hangry. I was fine, but then I woke up this morning just like with this like black cloud over me, and I know that about myself. I know what to do. So I got up at 6:30, 6:15. I drove down to Starbucks, got a cup of coffee, went to the beach, got out and walked on the beach, and it was beautiful. And I'm walking through the beach and I'm watching and I'm looking at the ground, and there's all these footsteps everywhere, but there's this one seagull that had walked around, and it was just like this aimless seagull. You could see all the footprints. It was hilarious. And I was like, I feel a little bit like that seagull right now. So I was like, and then I looked out at the sand where it was beyond the footsteps. And that's where I always like to be in my life, is like beyond the footsteps. And so I got out to the part was beyond the footsteps. And God was just like, read Psalm 23. So I got my phone out and I was just reading Psalm 23 out loud. That's all it took to just 100% turn my whole like countenance and energy and life around. And all I needed was that rest, just that like mindset reboot that only the Lord can do. It's only the Holy Spirit can do that. There's so much going on that's good in my life. I let 1 hour just zap everything. But it only took the Lord 7 minutes to undo that. Rest, food, sleep, and his presence. And lest we think that all of this depends on us, he doesn't need that. Like his thing is not like, come on, get with the program. Like, you're supposed to be helping me here. That's not his response. Why do pastors often try to solve spiritual exhaustion with more work, which is dangerous for us to go, I know what to do. I'll feel more like I'm up for the calling if I do more. If I just prove it's like I almost have to prove to myself that I'm worthy to answer the call that Jesus, it wasn't even a call, it was a command, go. We all do that. And it's pretty much a repeated pattern, because if the second you start to feel confident in whatever phase of your calling you're in, it's so annoying, but God will make sure that you move out of that comfort zone, like almost instantly. I think I get about 5 minutes in a comfort zone before God's like, all right, and we're moving on. Exhaustion distorts reality. And when we're depleted, problems feel bigger. Criticisms feel heavier, don't they? And God feels further away. And I love Paul's deal that nothing that we're struggling with is unique. Whatever you're facing is common to mankind. So you can take great comfort. I mean, in a way, it's like takes away a little bit of that self-soothing that we do sometimes, where we're like, oh, my problems are harder than anyone else's problems. And no one has ever been through what I'm going through, and no one would understand. So I can't, we become inconsolable sometimes. But then Paul goes, nah, that's not true. The whole world is struggling with what you're struggling with. What is it that currently gives you energy, and what drains your energy? It's almost like the extension cord illustration. You're not responsible to create the energy, but you're responsible to receive it and to pass it along. How do you know when you're running on empty? I know, because I get discouraged easier. What habits consistently fill your tank? The enduring thing for me is just a journal. Just a journal. Solitude for me is my refill deal. And for me, it's like a journal and a pen and solitude. And I could be going through the worst time ever, and if I can just get 15 minutes, 30 minutes of real solitude, but then it takes me 45 minutes to get from 100 to 0 to get to that solitude. So you got to figure that out. But whatever it is, some of you, it's totally different. You're wired different, but if you don't know what it is, you're in trouble. You got to figure that out. What is it that refills your tank? And then the question would be, well, how often do you need to do that? Well, at least daily. at least daily, if not multiple times a day.